What's good, gang? TG Coopzilla back with another video regarding Dead Rising. I'm joined by the Home Slice TG Flexx. We're gonna do some reaction and commentary to the Deluxe Remaster gameplay overview that dropped along with the trailer. I think it dropped the day after, if I remember correctly.
It was shortly after.
Yeah. Did you watch it yourself?
So I've only saw up to the point now. I didn't realise there's more gameplay after this.
Okay,
So I
cool.
didn't watch anymore.
So we're both going in kind of unaware of what they showed or what their aim was with like this gameplay overview, because obviously we know it's a remaster of the original and they're bringing up to current standards, but the questions arose around whether they're going to leave the game as it is or how they're going to modernize what they've already got. And we had a discussion the other day because we've been speaking about it quite heavy because we're looking forward to it. You're looking forward to the release, but you actually want things to stay the same, more close to the original, right?
Yeah, I just don't want them to overcomplicate it. I think it could so easily get messed up, especially with how Dead Rising went kind of after three. Like
Yeah,
the I don't know, it felt a bit more like it was going towards GTA style a bit more with three. Even though it was a good game, and then four I played for shortly and I didn't like it. But
yeah, that's
one
fair.
I think one's like, if it's your type of game and you're a Capcom fan, there ain't much really you can change about the game as far as when it was made to now. I think graphics will be the only thing that you really want changing, but I can imagine people want to see multiplayer and stuff, but I don't think co-op would work for this
I'm
type of
agreement.
game.
I don't really want to see you watch through the reaction I did, because obviously you always watch the videos that I put out regardless of what they are. So thank you for that first and foremost. But secondly, the co-op idea, not really feeling it in the main game because the original never actually needed it. And if there was to do co-op, I would be more fancy along the lines of being extra episodes that we don't see from survivors, or telling other stories that aren't Frank's, or even doing a game mode like they did with Dead Rising 2, or the DLC they did for Dead Rising 3 if they want to add extra content so it doesn't affect that single player um, horror action comedy grind that we get from the original. Because one of my fondest memories of playing Dead Rising 1 was starting it, realizing that Capcom intended for you to be bad between levels 1 to 5, giving you the option of restarting the game at level 5, continuing the grind and making the first boss way easier. And I want that to stay intact as well. So I
Yeah.
get what you're saying with staying like close to the original as possible, but modernizing it, like you say, with regards to the controls, just before we go into the video and see what they say, you're happy
Mhm.
with the way the controls are, right?
When I played the Steam version recently, it's not a mouse and keyboard game. Like it's built around a controller. Like I've tried on keyboard and I was just like, I imagine you can with bindings and stuff, but I just felt like it suited pad a lot more.
Yeah.
But they didn't feel too bad. There was like common stuff you'd expect from a game that was made when it was made, like glitches and stuff like that, and seeing through
Yeah,
walls
so
and
it,
bad
it could
rendering
just do
stuff.
with a refresh, in your opinion, so that
Yeah,
it's a lot more tidy and obviously upscaled.
I think the only way they could add co-op is in Infinity mode. So that's Infinity mode's the mode where there's no time, you're just chucked in the mall, and every survivor that was there in Psychopath is around at different times, and your health depletes, so you need food. I
Mm.
think that's the only way they could get co-op into it because then obviously making it co-op would make it easier killing zombies and psychopaths. But then
Mm.
when you have the situation where food's a rare supply, you need food to carry on with the game.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
You'd have
yeah.
to
So
share the
you
food
you
out
have to
between the
split
pair.
it, divvy it
Yeah,
out, and yeah, it creates a different sense of survival in that
yeah.
regard. That's a cool idea, actually. Never
And then
thought
with
about it like
weapons,
that.
you'd have to share weapons and things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's the only way they could get a co-op way into this game. I think the normal original game, I think you'd just make it way too easy.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair. So yeah, with regards to us being fans, like I remember playing it quite a lot on the 360, just to show people where our heads are at with regards to the new game coming out. I rinsed it back in the day. So did you at that point. But then you've gone back to it recently, like you said, on Steam, and you've played it and done the achievement hunting again. So your memory is quite fresh of the events of what happens in this game. So you'll be able to see where they're going, if there's any differences, if there's any inkling of change in this trailer in comparison to me. So you'll be able to identify that as we go through. And I'm going to try and piece together stuff anyway. But I think that's enough for... And that's actually been an extensive intro. It's been nice to talk about it like that, actually. I wasn't sure which way we was going to go with it. So yeah, you ready to boot this up and start watching it?
Yeah, man. I'm all ready to go.
Alright, sweet. So let's get into it. So this is the, as I said, the game overview, and it happens directly after the trailer. This is the video that they put out after it. We're watching it on GameSpot. I'm not sure how many other versions there are, but this is the one we've opted for. So if I hit rewind on this, you can see that it happens directly after the trailer. So this is what we're going to watch now. So getting into it, we've got Frank's mug.
The newly released trailer for Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster.
This straight pulls from the trailer.
Looks like a full-on remake. We had the same thought, so we spoke with
so
staff to get to the bottom of this Deluxe Remaster.
That was the part that was like when they showed the remaster version. I was like, yeah.
Well, actually, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call this game a remake, considering the work we put into it.
I should hope so, though.
Before we could even ask a question, Murai was giving us the inside scoop about the game.
Alright, let's get it. Tell us more, Murai.
The first thing you'll notice is the improved graphics.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah.
The new specs allow the game to run at 4K 60 FPS.
Bro, it's gonna be so... Like, when I saw it, I was saying it's hella smooth.
Quality of life improvements, like the ability to move while aiming.
Wait,
as well
so...
as other adjustments to make controlling Frank more intuitive.
So just to chime in on that then, moving and aiming isn't a thing in the original.
No.
Oh, it's like Metal Gear Solid 2 aiming, isn't it?
Yeah, you just you go into like the close up third person, and you can literally like look up and down, left, right.
Okay, so that's something. Yeah, something I would have forgot that happened.
The obvious notices is they've changed the health bar, the level logo, the PP, and the weapons thing in the corner.
Everything looks sharper.
But
it looks nice. It's nice and it's still nice and concise like the original was.
Yeah, just nice and simple. That's all it needs.
As well as
same missions as well.
To make controlling Frank more intuitive. Thanks to popular demand,
multiple save modes as well, feature, which is nice for achievement hunting in a sense as well. Or if you want a throwaway game, like.
The game will be fully voiced in 9 languages,
sick,
with text in 14, giving more players around the world a chance to enjoy characters' dialogue.
That's dope.
We've
Inclusivity, man.
Improvements to NPC behavior that we hope
will
make
that's a big one.
The zombie apocalypse with all the colorful characters that much
the
more
added
enjoyable.
steps to the event as well. That's huge.
Yeah,
that like
yeah.
A complete overhaul. It makes me wonder if the game's main concept is still intact.
So just touching on that with regards to the event, because you've played it recently. Survivors tend to get stuck trying to climb stuff. Yeah,
it's so annoying.
I remember. I do vaguely remember. If you was to try and change a level to jump up something and zombies was on your tail and they got stuck, it'd just lead to, like, not a good time. So the fact that you've said that, like, yeah, that's reminded me.
Well, I think you get bonuses with all the survivors. More you get.
Yeah.
And if you have 8 survivors, you've got no chance of getting them all up there.
To respect the direction of the original game. We kept the fundamental gameplay the
same. That's the same
the
cases.
user experience.
The watch.
This,
Mega Man.
We believe that both veterans and newcomers alike
The
will be
lariat.
able to enjoy a fresh experience.
God, I'm down bad for that. She looks dank in this upscale, man. God damn, she was a hottie anyway, but nah, that's... Oh my god. The Snow Bunny's back. I'm gonna have to save her first, though.
Our goal was to ensure that today's players would experience the same shock players felt when the original game was released. We believe we accomplished this goal with Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. It turns out he had ambitions of his own.
I respect the interview style that they've done as well.
Yeah,
because
it's pretty sick. Links it all together. I like it.
There were many limitations during
18 years ago.
Thanks to nearly 2 decades of technological
Damn bad too.
advancement,
Oh my god.
we were able to accomplish a lot that couldn't
let's
be
go.
done back
Isabella,
then.
you just don't know, bro. You just don't know?
For example, Resident Evil, Capcom's other zombie franchise, focused on quality over quantity.
Oh wow, look at the UI back then. It's still not a terrible looking game.
No, it's not.
And the amount of zombies on it's up to is it 300, and the Wii version was only up to 100, ain't it? Which I was finding out when we was talking, discussing, researching the other day.
That's we don't know. That's something I never looked into.
Oh wow!
Resident Evil 2.
They don't look like side zombies no more.
Wasn't as polished as we would have liked.
Look at that.
However, this time around, we were able to focus on quality as well. As the
That's a glow up, man.
I couldn't be more pleased.
Look at the lighting.
We were able to apply high-end modeling and production to both the main character Frank and all of the NPCs.
That's incredible.
Of course, another critical aspect of
because I don't want to keep pausing it,
is the shopping mall
but the amount of assets that are in the game
in the original game
to get an upscale like this.
Parkview Mall
Yeah, it's a very big game.
Areas like Entrance Plaza and Paradise Plaza, each with its own unique characteristics.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. I like,
them even further by adding real-time lighting and shadow effects.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. Just in the previous scenes, like the way that they've obviously that upscaling everything, you've got to change the lighting, but the lighting is giving more depth and atmosphere. Like the survivors talking to you when they just showed the remastered version. They're in whatever office space, but the office space is dim. It's creating, like, I think, even though we know what we're getting, it's going to create more instances of, like, jump scares or, suspense.
I think it'll make the night time more scary.
Oh, yeah.
And the daytime more safe.
The glowing eyes when the queen, when they introduce the queen, that's when the zombies get paired up, don't they?
Yeah, they get more aggressive and do more damage, I think.
Yeah, and is it a case of the glowing eyes only happen at night? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, they happen at a certain time.
Yeah.
And then the first night time in the game, and then carry on through it all the whole game.
Lighting and shadow effects.
Yeah, man.
So that
just the Space Roader ride, man.
Different appearance,
that's crazy.
Depending on the time of day. That's how much detail we've put into this project.
Yeah. Wait, so are we against? They've got to at this point add more costumes, right?
Yeah,
that they've got to, and we're not against that, right?
No, it depends on the pricing. If it's DLC.
Okay, yeah. So we'll talk about that at the end of this because there's only a minute or so left. That makes sense, actually.
For character animations, we tried to limit unnecessary changes.
Okay, nice.
Use the original data as much as possible, especially during action scenes.
Interesting.
We could have made them more realistic with today's tools.
But then it loses its charm.
To preserve the unique
100%.
and comical movements that made the original Dead Rising so
the
special.
glowing eyes and the I like that. Yeah. The convicts, man. I'm looking forward to that, man.
It looks very dark as well.
Was finally giving us the info we were looking for. However, we couldn't stop there. We had to know why this is called a Deluxe Remaster.
Yeah, they're going in with the Dead Rising propaganda still.
To get his account.
I respect it.
I think Dead Rising is a unique game with extremely tight game design, even by today's standards. However, we also knew the original game was released 18 years ago.
That's crazy to me, man.
Were needed to reach
Bro, 18.
That's why we focused on improving playability, in addition to overhauling the graphics.
I don't think you could do that in
This
the original.
game truly deserves the.
What,
in
hold the
addition
barrel?
to overhauling
Oh,
In addition to
I
overhauling
don't
the
recall.
graphics,
Is the barrel
this
actually
game
covering him?
truly deserves
Yeah.
the title of Deluxe Remaster.
Hey, look at his health bar.
Its unique game design allows it to stand apart from other zombie games. It feels fresh even today.
So you mentioned something when talking about like the costumes and stuff. I'm all for extra content. However, extra content that is like maybe non-impactful on the game, or if it's impactful on the game, is reined in on the cost, because as much as it's a remaster, all this is already created. So any additional stuff, we know people like to go ham with DLC, whereas this was a game that was released at a time that DLC wasn't the meta.
Yeah,
And
there's not much of a thing.
I can appreciate if the game does well that they'll want to capitalize with DLC. If it's extra episodes or whatever, that's extra content. That would make sense to me. But I think you strike a good point that if they decide that they want to do like costumes locked behind a paywall when we're in this massive mall where they've upscaled things, they could have even put extra stores in for all we know, even if it hasn't got survivors. I think I'd feel a bit funny with like those DLC purchases.
So there's some unlock items. There's the Mega Man Blaster. I don't know if you ever got that. I think you might have to get the zombie genocide achievement. So you have to kill like 55,000 zombies.
Yeah.
It's a proper grind. Like I can see them putting it as a small DLC price, but you can still unlock it in the original. Something like that I think would be the best to do because
yeah.
it's
It
the
gives you
best
the option
weapon.
then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the best weapon in the game, like bar none. Maybe it's debatable, but it's stupidly strong.
Yeah.
But at least like let people earn it. But if people just haven't got the time, because it does take a long time to get, or haven't got the will to grind, just let them buy it if they want to. But I don't think like. I
Yeah,
think
no, that's a really good point. Just that, yeah, because obviously in this day and age, this game dropped when grinding's always been a thing, but like the amount of games released and people's attention span. So to have something like that, I mean, people still play this game now. I'm not sure how active the leaderboards are for the 360 version, but it's like there were still people competing for top spots, wasn't there? So after
yeah,
some time, even when 2 and 3 had dropped, people were still after being on top of the leaderboard. So I think this version, definitely now it's on modern consoles, there's a new audience that can jump into it, and then they've got 2, 3, and 4, as well as the extra episodes and DLC that they can look at. It opens up the audience, so they can experiment with the DLC. But like we said, it'd just be a bit funny if they created additional things and locked it behind a paywall when we know we get so much from the game originally anyway. When they could just like add to it, especially with like the new IPs and the new characters that have come with some of the new games that they've got. Like they could throw, even though it kind of breaks canon depending on how they place universes and stuff, they could throw a Marissa costume in there with a Marissa melee attack.
Yeah.
Like whether I'd want to like pay for that though, I don't know. But depending on there's ways and means. So you strike a good point with that because I wasn't actually thinking DLC at the moment.
So like, have you got any concerns about it?
From what I'm seeing, no, because they haven't. Weapon combinations aren't in here, which is fine. So it's literally they are staying faithful. It seems like they're gonna stay faithful to the original, and they're gonna improve it overall. So my only thing is, it's not got a physical release planned at the moment, has it? It's literally digital stores.
19th. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's digital stores only, so there's not a physical release. So one of my concerns is potentially the price point. Where are they going to land with that? Like, I ain't going to lie, I've been over this before. I'm a Capcom shill. I'm probably tempted to pay a bit for it still. I don't want to say the amount because I'll get cussed in the comments if people do watch this. So, but yeah, I think pricing could be an issue. But other than that,
I think they've released a price on Steam.
Oh, okay.
I think it was. I can check right now. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was £40 UK pounds.
40 is not the worst, but I can also see people being. So okay, so just let's say
£40.
So let's say that's just a placeholder. I don't. Me as a fan of the game, I'm prepared for a digital delivery to pay like up to £45, right? Which is, if it's only digital delivery, there's no physical copies. It shouldn't exceed like 50, 55. But even me saying that, I can understand why people would look at it and be like, 45 is a lot for what potentially could be a reskin.
Yeah.
And that's where I think there's issues arise because even if they do updates to make the game smoother, work on consoles, instead of 300 zombies, we have 3,000 appear on screen at one time. I still don't necessarily think that warrants those kind of price points. if there's not like extra content added, because we've played it, we know potentially what we're gonna get. So I think it's just if they fill in the gaps with information, because it's not far away either. This has been a quick like announcement. The game's coming,
Yeah,
and we've seen the gameplay and we know what it's based on.
2 months away now.
Yeah, so I think my only concern is probably price point, and if they then decide, okay, we're gonna lock stuff behind DLC. I can't see them doing any original content locked behind DLC. That would be silly. But I also don't want to be in a position where if they do add new things to the game, it's locked behind that just because they can. What about you?
So I hope they take it the same way as they did the Resident Evil remaster, where everything was kept the same as the remake. Obviously, it's a different case because it's a remaster from the original game. Resident Evil 1 had a remake and then a remaster, and the remake to the remaster change was just game modes and graphics, better graphics, and I think releases on different consoles. I just hope that maybe add some new modes. That's fine. I think they actually have got like room for a DLC. They could do Carlito before the outbreak, or
Yeah. I want to know more about the characters.
Yeah,
that you come Frank. To either rival or try to save.
I think the only way I could do Frank is if you do post game. So at the end of the game, when obviously I know the story explains it further on in the other games, but
didn't we get that with the episodes, the Dead Rising 2 episodes off the record?
I don't know if it's straight from number 1 ending to the start of number 2. I'm not 100%.
But that's also an interesting point. If I can't remember what that, because I know there was Case Zero, and there was Off the Record, right?
Yeah.
And Off the Record was Frank, and Case Zero was Chuck.
Chuck Green, yeah.
Yeah. So that's also like if they include something like that as well, like Off the Record, but it's brought up to this standard as well. I think that'd be super dope. Whereas if they was to maybe release that as a separate episode, I'd feel a bit of a way. I could understand why they would, but I also feel like I paid for them 2 things before, and we know where games are now. That'd be a nice addition. Maybe you have to clear the game to get Off the Record. But yeah.
The other thing is as well, it's obviously got a lot of upscaling as far as like graphics and stuff. I just hope that it isn't too demanding on most people's PCs and laptops. I know when Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, they introduced ray tracing. At first it gave you no option, like you just had that version with ray tracing, and it absolutely tanked your FPS and everything else. So like speedrunners that had like more on the lower end of PC specs really struggled to play the game after that. But look, within 2 days to release
optimization. You want that? They've learned a lot from the games that they've
had to
re-released.
The pre-patch 2 days later, so most people just pre-patch the game. I've done it myself because my PC can't run like 4K ray tracing. Like you can see a reflection in a puddle and stuff like that. Like it just won't run at 120 frames. But that's for speed running purposes. That's a bit different. Like as long as this runs at 60 frames, like with decent graphics and settings on, I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's a good point, because games that release on console and PC at the same time, it's always the PC players for the most part that can get shafted just because of optimization. So yeah, that raises a good point, man. But yeah, I think initial reaction positive. We're looking forward to rinsing it and talking strats again and taking it from there and having just what could basically be an optimized version of what is already a great game, right? So
I just hope they add more achievements as well. Maybe not take away. I'd keep the original achievements, but add more, because I think it's one of the funnest games to achievement hunt.
Oh yeah, achievement hunting, yeah, definitely. Like the situations it puts you in, and like just trying to get the photo. Like I'll never forgive myself. I never got the photo of the 2 detectives once they've turned. I'd like to try and rectify that this time. You know what I mean? Especially with multiple save spots, it means we can experiment with our gameplay, saving at certain spots and rerunning parts, which is exciting actually. Like that's a great quality of life improvement.
It did have the multiple saves on the Steam version. I don't know if it did on the console. I can't remember. But I had to. I mean, just having the achievements for most people won't care, but the ones that do, it instantly creates an immense amount of replayability, and that's what you want in a single player game like this. You want to enjoy your second, third, fourth playthrough as much as your first.
Yeah. Right then, sweet. I think we've covered enough. This actually has gone up to like half an hour, so it's been a good discussion. So appreciate you for your time. If anybody is interested, in fact, I'll let you share your own Twitch. Go on.
Yeah, it's just TG Flexx.
Wow, you did not put a lot of
Twitch.tv/TG
Flexx. He's also on Twitter, and he does upload very, very rarely, but I'm trying to push him into the direction of doing content with me, so we end up with videos like this, because I think it's been a great discussion. Yeah. So he streams, I stream, twitch.tv/Stronggang. If you're already on the YouTube, please like and subscribe, trying to get those numbers up, and you can find all the socials in the description. So for now, I'm going to say peace out, and same for TG Flexx.
Peace out, man.
Peace.